One.
Well, hi, everybody, and welcome to Ohio Stadium. The Buckeyes are 10-0, 48-10. So Ohio State beats UCLA tonight in a game that in so many ways went exactly as expected by the time you were done, but maybe wasn't exactly how you thought that Ohio State would get there. If this is the first time you're joining us, glad to have you. Gulick and Anthony Moeglin, part of our Buckeye Roundtable coverage. We are with you all season long and looking forward to the stretch run because, quite frankly, that is almost here. You have one more, I don't want to call it a dress rehearsal, but the spread for the Rutgers game will also be a wide margin. And this is a weird time of year. Why don't we start here? It's a weird time of year for Ohio State because Purdue, UCLA, and Rutgers are not expected to be games that are going to be problematic for the Buckeyes. I think we're learning a little bit about this team along the way. Today, maybe learning that Ohio State can go out and execute, even if it looks different, because Jeremiah Smith didn't play the entire second. Darnell Tate was not available. And so the passing attack wasn't quite as – still show that they've got good capability.
Yeah, there's no question. I think that everyone's been waiting for them to see some adversity, and they were expecting to see it on the scoreboard. You're expecting to see, hey, a close game or maybe you're down. Today was a lot of adversity. You didn't have your two best players on offense, and those two guys are two of the best players in the entire country. One of them, Jeremiah, was a surprise to us that he was on the injury report. Obviously, with the way that his injury looks, his lower body injury, they knew that he wasn't 100%, so they were able to kind of prep for it. But man, that was legit adversity. How do you attack a defense when you don't have your two best receivers? Julian, how do you respond when you don't have your two best guys? And I thought there was a lot of good. There was also some bad. There's also some stuff to grow and to learn from, which, in my opinion, is awesome. Like, that's a very good thing, because how many times have you and I stood right in this very spot after a game and said, oh, like, it was really good, and we nitpick and try to find something? There's legit stuff that you saw out there today that, like, oh, that needs to be better. And that's something really good as it's getting a little windy. There we go.
We're doing it live.
Yeah, there we go. That's called live TV for everybody at home. But regardless, there's a lot of good. There's a lot of good, and then there was some stuff that you're going to identify that, hey, they can get better at, and do that throughout the next couple of weeks.
So I think a fair way to talk about Ohio State now that we're 10 games into the year is a different way of thinking about a team than normal. The traditional way to think about it is, okay, you run to set up the pass. By this point, I think we can confidently say that Ohio State is almost the reverse, right? They have not been as good of a running team this year. They've thrown it exceptionally well. Tonight, in the first half, Julian was terrific. He was 18 of 21, and that was an incompletion on his last throw on that wheel route into the end zone. So when they were clicking and when Jeremiah was on the field, it looked really good, right? I walked out of this game actually feeling a little bit like, okay, they ran the ball better as a team. In fact, Ohio State in the first half had almost as many rushing yards than they normally average per game. So I posed the question to you, do you think Ohio State ran the ball better tonight because the running game is developing and is taking good steps forward? Or was it more a reflection of UCLA is not a good football team and they really weren't very well coached?
Can I take the cop out and say it's both? Because that's cheating, and that's what I'm going to do, because I think it was a little bit of both. 33 carries, 222 yards, 4 scores. And Bo Jackson, to me, was the bell cow. 15 for 120, 15 for 120 and a score. And he looked really good. Like, he looked very good, looked very strong. I think back to the play that happened right over here. It was 1st and 10 on about the 12-yard line, and he gets the first down, and then, like, he, and along with the rest of the team, like, carry all of UCLA into the end zone. They ended up calling it that his forward momentum was stopped, so they didn't give him the touchdown. But it was like, oh, yeah, that's good. And then what they do the very next play, hand it right to 25, boom, in the end zone, no questions asked. How many times this year has Ohio State gotten inside the 10 or inside the 5 and not scored a touchdown? Right. That I thought was really good. I thought James Peoples, first of all, as the person, how awesome is that for him? Like, it's been a hard year for him. He came into the year, he was RB number 2. Then he got passed up by 2 freshmen, and then he comes out here tonight, has a sweet play on this side. Great cut, jumps over a dude. You're like, and this whole place was oohing and on. It was awesome. It was awesome. Got to talk to him afterwards, and I'll have the video up on our YouTube channel. But he was beaming, like, ear to ear, smiles, like, and that's awesome. And I thought he was a good changeup tonight. Like, that was his role against better teams is going to be a change of pace guy. He's not going to get a lot of touches, and that's just going to be the reality of it. But I think that it was exciting to see him. And then Isaiah West showed that, hey, him and Bo together can be like this 1-2 punch that is not like, I think back to Travion and Quinshon, where it was like a thunder and lightning, where Quinshon was going to run through your face and Travion was going to, be a little bit more elusive. These two both will just run right through you and punish you for being in their way. And that's a scary thing to have two of those, because every time they sub out, the defense can be like, oh, he's fresh. And there's another guy who looks exactly the same that's going to run me over. So I thought it was very good. There were steps taken in the right direction. UCLA is not the best team in the country. I don't think that's a surprise.
And the reality is, like, they had so many undisciplined mistakes. Some of them were penalties.
Yeah.
Some of them was bad alignment. I watched that game and thought to myself, gosh, like, twofold. One, this team's not very good. How in the world did they beat Penn State?
Well, yeah. And
Yikes.
Michigan State. And they went on that
Yikes.
3-game win streak, and you're like, wait, and it was that team. Like, it was that group.
Is Nico that much better?
But to your point, though, it wasn't even like, hey, Ohio State dominated. Like, they had 6 procedural penalties where they, like, just didn't line up correctly.
And slow getting things together.
Yeah.
And maybe some of that was new quarterback.
Yeah, that's very true. But I will say this. Ohio State's not going to go into tomorrow and say we're the best running team in the country. But what they will do is have a little bit of sense of confidence. You got 2 freshman running backs back there who this was like their first taste of like, oh, we just did it for 4 quarters together. I think that's positive. They can build on that, but also have the reality of like, all right, wasn't the best competition. We can continue to get better.
Helmet sticker for Coach Locke tonight for sure. As a group, that unit was impressive. As you try to figure out whole body of work, why a team can win. I think Ohio State's defense has certainly gotten enough love this year. It's not like they're an underrated group, right?
Yeah.
But everybody loves the superstar players on offense that go out and score a bunch of points and put up big numbers. So it's like you're drawn to the completion percentage of Julian Sayin. You're drawn to the unbelievable acrobatics that Jeremiah Smith pulls off. His one-handed catch on this side of the field
it
was
joke.
Ridiculous. I mean,
the picture,
crazy.
The still shot. If you guys haven't seen it at home, I mean, if you're watching us, you've seen it. The still shot's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
So I guess my point is, you're drawn to those kinds of things. And yet the reason why, as I drove to the game tonight, where I felt like, listen, UCLA's in trouble.
Yeah.
I realized the spread was almost 5 touchdowns, which is also a wild thought. It's because of the Buckeyes defense.
Yeah.
Right? They're going to probably score a bunch of points. They don't run, as many plays as they've run in years past. They're trying to be a bit more methodical. This defense is suffocating. And through the first 7 drives, when Ohio State led 34-0, UCLA had 65 yards of offense and 2 first downs. 2 first downs in 7 drives. I mean, again, new quarterback. I'm sure some of that was a little funky, but like, that is insane.
It's wild. And
this wasn't Grambling State, man.
No, it's not Grambling State. And it's almost to the point now where it's like those guys get on the field and 3 plays. All right. I mean, we were looking at time of possession midway through the third quarter. I think it was like just over 10. Like, it was a minute drive, 2 minutes. And it was like, our guys don't even have the opportunity to get out there and play. But when they do play, they're special. Caleb Downs, if you're like, hey, what's number 2 doing? Just go cut on a YouTube clip of all these games and watch the first 3 plays. And it was like, oh, and then he had it was a 3rd down. I tweeted it. Dude lined up as the defensive tackle, put his hand in the dirt. He's literally his hand in the dirt and gets to the quarterback and causes a pressure. He's insane. Sonny Styles on the night. And this was in like basically a half of football, 7 tackles, 2 solos, 1 TFL. Quiet, silent assassin, that dude. He is the best player on this team. He is the quarterback of this defense. He's so easy to root for, so fun to root for. And I mean, like, the defense, man. Okay, so Brennan, like,
I don't want to cut you off. Can you imagine being a quarterback and seeing Caleb Downs with his hand in the dirt? Like, your instant thought is, I didn't see that one before.
Something about this is
something
fishy.
is amiss.
Yeah, I don't want number 2. And imagine being a guard and being like, oh God, like, I got to block this dude.
I don't know.
But bigger picture to this conversation, while it is fun and it's fun to talk about, I think tonight showed that, hey, when the offense is struggling, right, scored 48 points. But when the offense it doesn't have it going, this defense is the great equalizer. This defense will keep them. let's say Julian Sand goes 3 quarters and throws 2 picks and no touchdown. This defense is going to keep you in a football game. You saw it tonight, and we've seen it every week. We haven't really seen the fruits of it because we haven't needed to. But I think tonight proved that, hey, even if the offense is a little shaky, this defense is going to have its back and always have its back.
And I think that's maybe what I am most enjoying about this team this year, because you think about the teams in the past that have been really good. The offense is led by C.J. Stroud or Justin Fields. I mean, you go back for a decade and look at the eye-popping, explosive numbers where you feel like, I don't know how we're going to stop this team. Ohio State this year is not quite that good offensively, but they've been incredibly efficient. They are certainly explosive enough, despite the fact that maybe they don't have the same balance as usual. But it is the fact that this defense is, by itself, I mean, they're giving up 1 touchdown a game. If you don't score more than 7 points,
off the bus. You have to. If you score 7 points, that's what you're getting. And okay, so now you're telling UCLA's defense or Rutgers defense or Michigan or whoever Ohio State's going to play in the playoff that you have to give up 6 points to Jeremiah Smith. Yeah. Good luck.
Yeah, it's
kind of complimentary football, man.
But it's fun for Ohio State fans because they watch this team and feel like, listen, the Silver Bullets are fun to watch. And at times in the last 15 years of Ohio State football, that hasn't been the case. Yeah. I saw it tweeted earlier today. I can't remember exactly who tweeted it, but Ohio State has won double-digit games now in something like 20 of the last 24 years. I mean, we are talking about a team that is the measuring stick of success in college football, and I know there's going to be some that say, well, Alabama this or Georgia that, whatever. This is the program by which the rest of the country is measuring success against. And the fact that they have now won national championships in that stretch continues to prove that. I think it's really cool that year after year, it doesn't have to look exactly the same. Your job's to win. And Ryan Day's got a team right now that shows, listen, even if they're not at full strength, they can get it done.
Yeah, it's impressive stuff. And it's scary for the rest of the country to see, because what do you do? When you look around this country, today was the perfect example. Texas A&M needs a miracle to beat South Carolina. Yeah. At halftime in Indiana, the Hoosiers were beating Wisconsin by 3 points. It was 10-7 at halftime. And you're like, okay, teams have a letdown. Teams have a letdown spot. Where's this team's letdown spot been? And you roll the ball out there. Let's say Indiana's coming into the shoe tomorrow. I'm thinking, after today, 2 touchdown favorites. We're 10-point favorites. This team is, in my opinion, week after week, proving that it's head and shoulders above the rest of the country, and it's doing it in different ways week after week.
I mean, look at Alabama today.
Yeah.
Alabama, their defense played well enough. Mm-hmm. They held Oklahoma to 212 offensive yards or something, and they still lost. Yeah. No, it really listen, I'm not saying this team is destined to win the national championship for sure, but they absolutely, and again, I generally like Dan Orlovsky's work. I really do. I think he's one of the best analysts in the country. His comment this week about we don't really know who Ohio State is because they haven't played anybody. I mean, I understand what he's saying. I just don't agree. I think if you look at them week after week and you look at the other teams around the country, there are extremely few teams that are even in the same breath as this group right now.
That comment specifically, I'm glad you brought it up, because I had not a similar take to you, but a different approach to it, because he said something along the lines of, we haven't seen this team face adversity pretty much. And my thought was, you might not.
They're that much better than
everybody. That much better than everybody. And that's not an arrogant thing to say. That is the very much the truth. Lay out every single team, Ohio State versus Texas A&M, Ohio State versus Notre Dame, Ohio State versus Ole Miss, who's in a dogfight right now, Ohio State, Oklahoma. Go down the list. Who? Yeah. You may get to a point where they're just so much better than everybody that they may not face adversity.
I know you also watch a lot of Notre Dame football, and I'm a little curious because as I think about the other teams that are playing well as the year's going along, obviously Notre Dame got off to a really bad start. They're one of the only other teams I look at thinking, hey, they are getting better week after week.
Yeah.
You see the same thing?
I see the same thing with them, and their defense is improving. Their run game's good, but they have a young quarterback who makes young mistakes. Yeah. And that's still an area where if we joked about this a couple weeks ago, the way to beat Ohio State is to have their bus crash on the way to the game or something like that, because that's it, or Jeremiah to sleep through his alarm and miss the bus or something like that. But you have to play perfect to beat these guys.
Yeah.
And that's not only a stress on the field, that's a stress on Monday, on Tuesday, on Wednesday, on Thursday, on Friday, on the plane ride to Columbus. You land in Columbus, it's cold, it's windy. Like, oh, we got to play perfect tomorrow. If it's CJ Carr or if it's whomever, they have to come out and play perfect against this team. That's hard to prepare for. That's hard to think about all week, and it's hard to do on a Saturday night or Saturday afternoon.
I don't really know how else to wrap this up other than to say that, everybody's going to come out of this game wondering about the health of Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate. And Doug Lesmerises, I thought, asked the question that I wanted to know going into that post-game press conference was, whether or not Ryan was going to be honest about it. At least he answered the question, and I thought he was decisive in the way he answered it. Doug basically said, hey, listen, Ohio State fans are thinking back to Jackson Smith-Njigba, who was dealing with a nagging injury and never really got back on the field. Travion Henderson, right? Doug didn't mention him by name, but same breath. When Trey wasn't right for a couple years, it was like, what's going on? Why can't he get healthy? Mm-hmm. And the question essentially was, do you feel like, even though you guys are trying to slow walk this here, Carnell hasn't played now 2 games in a row. At least Jeremiah was out there in the first half. But if you watched him walk tonight, he clearly is not 100% healthy. Are you concerned, Ryan, with their long-term availability? And to his credit, it was a pretty decisive no. So that's good news. I hope that's the case, right? I don't know if I want to see Jeremiah play next week against Rutgers. What's the point? Unless he is full go, then fine.
And it's hard to imagine. You've all seen the videos. We've seen him. Saw him walking. We were watching him the whole game. We were watching him kind of limp up and down the sidelines. The video coming out of the locker room is hard to watch.
Yeah.
He's just very much so late. That's not a good. That's concerning. That's concerning to me, mostly because we're 7 days ago. He went 10 for 137 and 2 touchdowns and looked like the best player in the world. Something happened. Like, where did it happen in the game? Did it happen in practice? Something happened. It's very recent. He tried to play through it, got a couple drives out of it. It's funny. I wrote this in my post-game press or my post-game article. His 70% or whatever percentage he is, it's still better than like a lot of others. But I'd rather have him at 100%. For the Michigan game, I'd much rather have him 100% for a playoff run if we get there. So,
gosh, the next 14 days are going to be really interesting.
It's some fascinating stuff.
You have to win the rivalry game.
Yeah,
you have to.
Mm-hmm.
There's been so much frustration around that game, so you're dying to get on the field. If you wear the scarlet and gray, legacies are defined by what you do in that game. And yet the bigger picture in mind, I think last year Ryan tried to shift a lot of the focus away from, how hard they publicly pushed about the game. And now it's, hey, obviously that's still the game, but let's dial back the intensity a little bit. They haven't necessarily said it that way, but you can understand where they are clearly backing off a little. I'm sure Jeremiah is going to do everything he can to be healthy for that game. But, now that you know what happened last year, you lose that game, you still win a national title. People always had that debate. What's more important? You got to have the best player in the country healthy.
And I'm thinking now, what are some scenarios that you could present, right? And it's like, all right, Jeremiah, we'll sit you at Rutgers. Let's get you healthy for Michigan. You get the Michigan game, and then just say caution, screw the Indiana Big Ten championship, like screw that game because of the way that the playoffs formatted now. Ohio State's getting a bye regardless of anything. Like, all right, make sure they're healthy for that, get the bye week, and then just go to round 2. I don't know. There's going to be some chess matches. You can listen to Ryan's comments. He was very like, oh, he's fine. Like, dude, he couldn't walk. That's your best player who needs to run.
Yeah.
He couldn't walk up a ramp. I don't know. I'm concerned. It's got my antennas up for sure.
Yeah. All right, let's close with this topic because I think it's an interesting one. Did tonight help Jeremiah Smith's Heisman candidacy? I think a lot of people are thinking about it through the lens of Julian Sayin, and that's fine. But there was a drastic dip when he wasn't on the field, and you know what it looks like when he's at his best. I realize it is so unusual for a quarterback, for a non-quarterback to win that award. Yeah. But I kind of wonder, it's like everybody seems to know that's the best player in the country, but is it a quarterback award? Could you use something like this to justify it? Maybe.
I mean, I think about it in the frame of the NFL MVP and the NFL Offensive Player of the Year.
Right.
Like Jeremiah Smith tonight proved Jeremiah Smith is the most valuable player on the best team in the country.
Sure.
Argue with a wall. If you disagree with me, go talk to a wall, because that is just the truth. It's the truth of the matter. And yeah, if they evaluate this as the MVP, I mean, I would point to this second half and be like, where's number 4? He's on the sidelines. Look at the difference that this offense is. I don't know. It's a fascinating conversation that I'm sure we'll have at some point.
Yeah, it's a fun debate. It's a fun debate.
Call Kevin right now, see what he thinks.
Yeah. Kevin's still looking for G. Scott, big tight end fan, Kevin Wojcicki. All right, 48-10. The lights are out, the scoreboard is off, and I'm sure they would prefer for us to leave. So we'll oblige. 48-10, Ohio State with a nice win tonight. A late touchdown that was important to some, I guess is what they say. So Ohio State covers the spread at home against UCLA.
My prediction was 48-3 before the injury reports. I had 38-3 afterwards. I was close. I'm getting there.
Would you have predicted a kick six?
Would not have predicted the kick six. Before we get out of here, that punt was insane. By the way, the punt, we're not going to even call it a punt block on this show because that was a punt shank. Sorry, Caden. That was a punt shank, and it hit Caden in the face, dude.
Well, I was referencing Styles bringing one back 100 yards where he's 3 yards deep in the end zone, and as a fan, I'm sure you're sitting there going, no, yes. Side note, go find his interview. It's going to be on our YouTube channel. I asked him about because there was a cool moment with him and Sonny on the sidelines, and he had a really cool answer to my question. I would just go recommend checking it out. It's really cool. Those brothers really love each other, and it is really cool. You're good at this. That's a great cliffhanger. A good tease.
I'm learning.
Even Anthony's getting better.
Come on. Week 10 for everybody.
We love it. 48-10, Buckeyes with a nice win over UCLA. Back to it next week with Rutgers coming to town here for the final home game at the Shoe.